let's get into this Richard Hart post the other day. And I think this is really interesting because, since Richard has been espousing the stuff that he has about crypto since way back in 2016, 2017, and just about life and things in general, people have, I'm looking at Ewok here, looked at everything he says as gospel and, would do anything for the man. So, and that brings up an interesting point because a lot of people will see the different things that he says and say like, well, Richard said this, so that's what we're going to do, and people will do that. So I think this post he made is really interesting. And we can talk about who it's a sub tweet to. I mean, I don't know, people are mentioning Liberty Swap, of course, but even if it isn't Liberty Swap or really directed or about them or anything, this could be about so many different things. And I'm actually really glad that he did post this. So we'll read what he said here. He said, the myth, and I'm sure he saw that people are putting words directly in his mouth, but he said, the myth of Richard Hart approved, quote unquote, nearly nothing is. I explained to you the risks and how you can do things better. Hopefully you take the advice and it works out for you. So I'm once again going to tell you how to do things better and hope it helps you reduce your counterparty risk by spreading your transactions out. All off-chain exchanges and all bridges have counterparty risk. You greatly reduce the risk to you if you just spread whatever you're doing over smaller transactions. Other tips that work on the same idea: use different types of hard drive to do backups, so they're basically less likely to fail at the same time. If you use a Virgin wallet to transact and you get hacked on it, you don't instantly get hacked on everything upstream, and it's nearly free to do. So Virgin wallets as condoms before connecting things is quite affordable insurance. And for instance, if a bridge is really fast and affordable because it doesn't have a bunch of validators that have to approve a bunch of multi-sig confirmations, it's faster and cheaper, but in theory has more counterparty risk, which is definitely true because it doesn't require collusion of validators to, sorry, I'm just catching up. I don't know. Make problems. So if you're using a faster, cheaper bridge, know that it's more risky, but you can reduce the risk by splitting up your bridging over time, yada, yada, yada. Things must be good or bad based on your evaluation of them and how you use them. Never, ever let someone tell you Richard Hart approved and you dare use their statement to replace your own due diligence, which is really good. I mean, this is a guy who touts a lot of the things he says all the time. So he's even saying, if it looks like I said something and somebody's saying I said something, you should still do your own due diligence.
Right.
He's kind of covered his own ass too, which I would as well. He said, you must reward which is good by knowing better from worse, using your own mind. I'm in cryptocurrency to remove counterparty risk and increase efficiency. We're lucky such awesome computer science breakthroughs and open source software exists. Let's spread the word. I hope you enjoy the free tips. P.S. Random, if you want to have two kids divide a cake evenly amongst themselves, have the first kid cut and the next kid choose. Good stuff there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what do you make of this? I mean, is he talking about Liberty Swap? There's all this stuff swirling about Liberty Swap right now, and I don't even really care to get into as much to the meme coin thing that they seem to have some involvement in this Peacock thing. We can maybe get there in a minute. But I think people are seeing that, and they're starting to get like, oh, I thought these guys were benevolent, and what's going on here? And, because remember, Liberty Swap came out of nowhere. RH seemingly was one of the first people to post about them. They have all these gigantic money inflows coming in out of nowhere, and everybody and their mother loves them. But then you start to see, there's a pattern that we're all very familiar with in crypto. Seemingly cool guy comes into the community, whoa, who's this guy? Oh, he seems cool. Next thing you know, there's a token. Next thing you know, there's a website. We've all seen this story. I'm not accusing Liberty Swap of that, but you should be the due diligence thing that RH talked about. If you're in crypto and have been even for 6 months, you should know that you should look at everything with a skeptical eye. I know that B Roots just the other day, I'm not going to say he was talking about Liberty Swap, but if you look at the comments and what he was saying, he talked about new quick bridges popping up every single bull market, and every single time something negative happens. And I'm sure you have some experience with that too, Ewok. So a lot to cover here. I'll shut up. What do you think of the RH post? Is it about Liberty Swap? Whatever angle you want to take it.
Well, so kind of. It kind of is. I don't think he is saying anything bad about it. What he is saying is the faster that things go on blockchain, the more you have sacrificed security. We talked about this last week, how Liberty Swap was actually operating. They take money in, they have money sitting on both sides. Essentially, their protocol takes it in, boom, sends it right along. Then in the background, they're bridging the actual money over so that it's there. So they're covering the transaction, right? So they are sacrificing security for speed. We look at XRP. XRP is super fast. Richard has talked about that before and how they had to. So you take confirmations, right? Some coins that you send require a certain number of confirmations before you can actually spend the token. Well, you can make it faster by requiring less confirmations, but you risk the security of something happening within those blocks. So what he's basically telling you is if you're going to use these things, break it down. Don't send it all in one transaction. And I think people misunderstood it as like you shouldn't use it just because I promoted it or I said, hey, this is here. He's saying be smart about it. If you've got $2,000 to send somewhere, break it down into $500 a piece or something like that, where if you get burned, well, you still got 2/3 of it left, or 3/4 of it left. If the first one doesn't go, you didn't lose everything. So that's what he's trying to tell people, is to break things up into smaller transactions. Don't send everything all at once because there is risk to it. He's not saying don't use it. He's not saying anything bad about it. Yes, I know the stigma for these new people coming in. All of a sudden there's a coin. This wasn't Liberty Swap. I don't know how far you read into it, but there was a person named Humpback something who created this token.
They followed me, yeah.
Who has created many other tokens, and they all failed. If you or I were to put out 100 tokens, maybe 2 or 3 of them would catch on. The other ones are pretty much failures, and that's how it goes in meme land. Your meme tokens have to catch on, or you have to be an extremely good marketing type of person. So somebody gave them a sizable chunk. They probably ran with it and said, we might as well market it, right? We've got all these people listening to us. Let's talk about it. Let's make some cool memes. And we've got a chunk. We didn't have to do anything for it. Now all we got to do is talk about it. Nothing wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with what they did. And there are people that are, you got Rackham who was blocking them and now talking shit about it because now it's taking from his. So you have to realize that's happening too. These people that are putting out their own stuff, well, they don't like somebody else kind of making waves and stepping on toes and getting more attention than they are. So it happens, right? I mean, and I'm not saying anything bad about Rackham either. So it's just people don't like to not be the top dog. And, that's where all this blocking and nonsense comes from. And again, I don't think Richard ever said don't use them. He just said be smart about it. Be smart about it. Send smaller transactions. Use wallets or test wallets to make transactions, and use common sense. Because yes, there will be a hack sometime this cycle where somebody actually will get taken for something, and because they were using a protocol and somebody found a bug or something like that. So it happens every cycle. There's always something that goes wrong, and you have to be careful and just be wise about what you're doing. Take smaller steps, take your time. Don't send all your money anywhere all at the same time. Do it in smaller chunks. That way, if something happens to one of them, now here's the weird thing: the more transactions you make, the risk of doing something wrong increases.
Yeah,
but the amount that you're sending, if it all goes in one transaction and that happens to be the bad one, then you're really screwed. So, you just have to be be smart about it, and you know, if you're not in a hurry, don't go with the one that has more counterparty risk. You know, if you have to do it, then use the fast one, but do it in smaller increments. If they show up faster, it could end up taking about the same amount of time until you get all the transactions sent anyway. So again, security is a big thing. Counterparty risk is a big thing. And I think he's just kind of warning people to be smart about it, and don't be in a hurry. Take your time, you know, do it the right way, and we're all going to make it. I think that's how I read it. I didn't remove. I think I made the joke to you is I removed about 15 letters and moved things around, and it's code for P dial pegged to $1. So
exactly. Well, I brought it up to you.
It's clear as day if you rearrange all the letters, and
it's definitely a P die. Yeah, it's definitely a P die tweet. So no, and I think my biggest fault with stuff like this is rushing. Honestly, I have plenty of experience with trying to, because you get these bottom of the bear market prices, and you want to buy them so fast, which we've had 3 goddamn years to do it. I don't know why I'm like so. Every time I want to buy it, it's like, okay, I gotta get it. It's gonna go up any day now, and it's never gone up. But I guess I'll just ask you straight up, because what we're really talking about is onboarding into the ecosystem here. Sure. How many different ways have you, Ewok, gotten into Pulse Chain? Have you just used Coast? Because I have done the traditional, like the official Pulse Chain bridge. That's probably what I've done the most, which is still available on the pulsechain.com site. Yep. You just have to be a little bit more of a sleuth now and find where to click, but it is still there, and then you can bookmark the link to that bridge. I've used that. I've used Coast. There was another like Spark Swap bridge I used like once or twice back earlier on, which I definitely did with Slut Wallet, whatever you want to call it. She was just out there connecting to whatever. But yeah, I think those are all very good ideas, taking your time.